Hello, my sweet YouTubers. Today we are going to be talking about string methods. Now, you can see I have this beautiful string here, my oh my, chicken pot pie. It was the first thing I thought of, honestly. I don't even know why I thought of it, because I literally hate chicken pot pies. I think they're the most disgusting food in the world. The first two methods we're going to talk about are kind of stupid, but I'm going to teach them to you anyways. Okay, I guess the first one's kind of important, and that is charAt. Now, this is where you pass an index, and it's going to give you that character. We talked about this briefly in the previous video, so if you are watching the series from the beginning, you probably already know how this works. So what we're going to do is we're just going to get the first character, and it's going to be an M. And we can put in a different index here. And now we get H. Now, spaces are considered characters, so if we're going to get the 10th index, it's going to be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, which is H. If you wanted to get the last character, you could actually go in here and get x.length minus 1. And you want to make sure you have that minus 1 because the length is always going to be 1 larger than the last index because the indexes start at 0. So run it and we get E, which in fact is correct. Now this next method is kind of stupid, but we're still going to learn it. All right, so this one's concat, where you can actually add a string in here, such as now with 20% more chicken. And this is going to return a new string. So we actually need to output the result of this. There we go, there's our entire string. If we wanted, we could assign this to a new string. So we could say the full add is this. So this method might be useful for you, but more than likely you can just use the plus operator. So for example, we could say x plus this string right here. So I'm not really sure what the use case of that method is there, but it's good to know that it exists because you might see it in code and you should know how it works. So we can sys out this new full add, and it should be the same exact thing. Yes. Now moving on to some more useful methods. The first we have is contains. So we could say full add dot contains. It'll return true or false depending on whether the string contains whatever we pass in here. So for example, we could say chicken. And now let's sys out this, and you can see the result is true. So that is a very simple method for a binary yes or no. If you're looking for something a little bit more complex, there is a method you could use. That method is the indexOf method, and that's going to actually tell us where it was found in the string. So we're going to go through another example. Let's say full add dot indexOf, and if you look at the options here, we could pass in a character, but we can also pass in a string. So we can call this method and pass in my, for example. And my is the first thing in the string, so it should return back 0. I think I had one too many parentheses there. Let's run it. And we get the value 0. Now this method actually has another option. This is known as an overloaded function because there's more than one possible way to call it. So we can pass in another argument, which is the index to start at. So for example, I could put in 3. And now what it's going to do is it's going to count 0, 1, 2, 3, and it's going to start right here. So the value should return 4. What? Oh, bologna sandwich. So it's going to count 0, 1, 2, 3, and it's going to start right here. And my should be index 4, 5, 6. So the value it returns should be 6. And we get 6. Awesome. Now here's a trick for you guys. If you want to skip the first occurrence, but you don't know what index it's at, you can do that dynamically. So for example, let's just say yum. Now, we're just putting that there just so it doesn't start at 0. It makes it a little bit more fun. All right, so now what we can do is the second argument here, we can pass in another call to indexOf. So we could say full add dot indexOf, and the value we're going to pass in is the same thing, my, but then we're going to, outside of the function call, add 1 to that. So basically it's going to find my, it's going to hit it, and then it's going to add 1, and it's going to start the search right here. So it's going to skip that first occurrence. We run it, and we get 15. There might be 400 my's in here, so I'm not really sure how to scale this to grabbing like the 39th, for example. There is something you could do to grab the last occurrence of my, and that's actually its own method. So we can go over here and try that out. So we could say full add dot last index of, and same thing, we could be searching for a character or a string, and we can optionally pass in a from index. So if we look at this one, it'll search backwards starting at the specified index. But let's just first grab the last occurrence. What are we looking for? We're looking for my. Run this. got an error, had a little typo in the method name. Run this and we get the value 15, which is correct because the first one we skipped and then we found this one earlier, which is 15. It's also the last occurrence of my in the string. Similarly, you could pass in another argument if you wanted to skip the last one and get the second to last one, and so forth. So those are some basic string methods.